Hear NFL legends, players, coaches, and media members from around the country, sharing their insights and stories with us year-round. Here on Thursday night, Tailgate.
And now back with us on Thursday Night Tailgate is our good friend Terrance Copper. Let me remind you about Terrance's background. He is from Washington, North Carolina, which is out there on the coastline. At Washington High School, he set career records for receptions and receiving yards. He was an All-American honorable mention by USA Today. Played his college ball at Eastern Carolina, where in his senior season he led Conference USA in receptions with 87, which also set the single-season reception record there at East Carolina. Was an undrafted free agent, originally signed by the Dallas Cowboys in 2004, and he played wide receiver in the NFL from 2004 to 2012 with the Cowboys, Saints, Ravens, and Chiefs. And over the course of his career, he had 84 receptions for just over 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. He excelled on special teams, where he had 75 career tackles and was named special teams captain by the Kansas City Chiefs, and we're excited that he is back with us tonight here on Thursday Night Tailgate. Hey, Terrance, Chris, and Bob here. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, Phil. How y'all doing?
Great.
Wow, fantastic. How have you been, Terrance?
I've been well. Just working hard, but I've been well.
Good.
So, Terrance, as I mentioned in your intro, you were an undrafted free agent. Curious, why Dallas? What was it about the Cowboys that attracted you to go sign with them?
You know what? I looked at the coaching staff, and Coach Parcell was the head coach at the time. You had Todd Haley was the receiver coach at the time. And also, they didn't draft any receivers that year when I came out. They drafted a guy named Patrick Creighton, but he was more of a quarterback/receiver. But that was it, you know. So I felt like it was a good fit for me, and things just worked out for me.
So as you mentioned, the two coaches that you had there in Parcells and Haley, as an undrafted free agent, Terrance, how were you able to catch their eye, right, and make that team?
You know what? One thing that I had, I was a good-sized receiver. I was a big receiver when it comes to stature-wise. Not really height, but I was a thicker receiver, but I was fast. And luckily, that's what Coach Parcells was a fan of. He liked thicker guys that could run, especially return kicks. So I went out there. I was the same guy every day. And when I tell you that coaching staff was amazing, but they was very hard on you. So I had to remain the same guy every single day because I used to get dog cussed all the time in practice, and that's just how it was, you know. But I still showed up to work every day, the same guy. I didn't take things personal. I showed a lot of toughness, mental toughness, and that was one thing that caught the eye.
Bob, questions for Terrance?
Great to speak with you, Terrance, and I want to talk about your time in New Orleans because it's amazing to me that Sean Payton and Drew Brees are still there. You had a very, very good year in 2006 under Payton, and just wanted to get your opinion on him as a coach, Terrance. Did you like him, and would you consider him an offensive guru like many people do?
Oh, he's definitely an offensive guru. He was offensive coordinator when I was in Dallas as well. I forgot to even bring his name up. But he's definitely an offensive guru. With him and Drew Brees working together, it's hard to stop that offense because those guys are on one accord all the time. They're in meetings together all the time. After practice, they're together all the time. You know, so they study the game, and they're just on one accord all the time. You're never going to find them not on the same page. That's what makes that offense work. Him and Drew Brees, and when he dialed those plays up, Drew was right there. You know, so I mean, it's a great tandem.
A little bit more about Brees, Terrance. This is a guy, 38 years old, going to be 39 this winter. And, again, he is, according to what I'm reading, he was about the exact same size as you. He doesn't look 6 feet tall when I'm watching him on TV. But I guess he makes up with a lot of it. He's probably one of the smartest individuals to ever step on a football field, in addition to having a lot of incredibly good athletic well, let's put it this way. He's got so many gifts athletically, but I guess what I'm getting at is his brain is like few ever that have really come on a football field.
Oh, yeah, it is. And one thing that Drew does, not only does he play the game at a high level, but in practice, he practiced at a high level as well. Even after practice, he get together with the receivers, and we work on timing routes. We work on where to be at on certain plays. Because, like I said, Drew is about my height, so it's tough for him to see over the line of scrimmage because you got offensive linemen that's 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". So it's tough for him to see over the line of scrimmage. So he rely a lot on the timing of a play, and we run those plays over and over and over. After practice, we still running those plays after practice, just getting the timing down, knowing where to be at, where Drew wants you at. The coaches can tell you a certain thing, your receiving coach can tell you a certain thing, but when Drew speaks about something, you usually listen to Drew because he's the one out there throwing you the ball. So it's just his knowledge of the game, the time he spent in the film room. He's just the ultimate pro.
Terrance, when I look back over your game logs, in 2006, you got targeted 19 times over a two-game stretch when you played against the Steelers and the Bengals, and you responded. 12 catches, 179 yards, a couple of touchdowns, just sort of like your senior season at East Carolina. It seemed like any time teams gave you a chance, you responded with big numbers. Did it frustrate you that you didn't get more opportunities to be a bigger part of the offenses where you were?
You know what? Sometimes it did at first, but one thing I did, I wanted what was best for the team, and if me just playing special teams was what they needed, and me coming in as a sub receiver and getting minimum balls, then that was what I was going to do because I really just wanted to win, and however I could help the team, that's what I was going to do. And so for me, I played a lot of special teams, but I took to it. When I first came into the NFL, Coach Parcell used to tell me, he said, listen, I need to be a special teams demon. That's what he said, and I need to go out there and play special teams very well because, like I said, I was undrafted. So when you're an undrafted free agent, everything you get, you're going to have to work very hard for it. I mean, that's for anybody playing in the NFL, but when you're undrafted, you really got to go out there and prove yourself over and over and over. You don't get those opportunities as maybe a first-round or second-round draft pick. So for me, I had to make these teams off of special teams, and then once I made the special teams, once I made the team and I played special, then I could show that I could play receiver as well. But I mean, sometimes I got frustrated with it, but at the end of the day, I wanted what was best for the team, and if I could contribute to helping the team win, then that was what I was going to do. If that was just special teams, then that's what it was.
Terrance, one more before we let you go, and you do radio work now for your alma mater,
Yes,
East Carolina. Been kind of a tough couple of seasons under Scotty Montgomery so far. The Pirates are 2-7, got a big win over BYU, but talk about how do you feel about the direction the team is going in?
Right now, we're not going in a good direction right now. I'm anxious to see how next year's going to go. I think this season we're not bowl eligible this season, but I'm more anxious to see what's going to happen next year. This season right here is more of I don't want to call it a wash, but we're not going to get anything out of this season. I think it is what it is. But next year, I'm anxious to see next year Coach Mo. They have 2 to 3 years of good recruits coming in. He get to hit more of his guys in, and if you may say more of Coach Ruff guys out that he may. I mean, I know he like all kids, but you want more of your kids in there that's under your teaching. So I'm anxious to see how next year is going to go. Like I say, this season is kind of a wash for us, but I'm still anxious about next year.
Terrance, before we let you go, remind our listeners, how can they stay up to date with all the things that you're doing and follow you either online or over social media? For one, I have a sports academy in Winterville, North Carolina. It's a 28,000 square feet building. We train athletes, professional, college, down to Little League, down to 6 years old. We train kids for basketball, football, baseball, softball, soccer, speed and agility, and weight training. We have after-school programs and summer programs, so you can always follow us on social media at the Premier Sports Academy, or you can go online and follow us at thepremiersportsacademy.net.
I'm also on social media, Facebook, under Terrance Copper. You can find me on Twitter as well. So we have a lot going on. It's great to do something that you love once you're done playing football. So for me to be able to do the things that I loved doing when I was playing, it's awesome.
Well, Terrance, speaking of awesome, it's awesome having you back on the show with us tonight. We hope you'll come back maybe later on in the season, share more of your stories and your insights with us. We certainly appreciate your time. Thanks for coming back on the show tonight.
Thanks so
sir.
much.
Thanks for having me. Yes, sir, fellas. Thanks for having me.
All right,
Anytime.
take care, Terrance. All the best to you and your family.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
That is former Kansas City Chiefs is where I remember Terrance the most, but also played obviously with the Cowboys, Saints, and Ravens, and in East Carolina in college. But Bob, the great thing about what Terrance had to say, at least what stuck out to me, is what a team guy. Love the guys that put team first, and not as we see so many wide receivers, right, and the prima donnas that we have in the league that are me guys and want their numbers. Terrance was a guy who put the team ahead of himself, and that's rare to find, but a guy who did everything he could. No matter where you stuck him, he performed for you.
I'm glad you brought that up, Chris. When given the ball, and we've talked to so many guys, when they're given the ball and either rushing or being thrown to, they respond, but never complained, at least publicly, when he didn't get the ball, but stuck around 9 years and had a very good career and is doing some great things now. We love team guys, and he's one of them. So,
yes, sir.
We urge people to follow him and watch what he's doing because he's a great guy.
All right, when Bob and I come back, we'll be turning on the Thursday Night Tailgate Spotlight on the Positive. Hear which players are doing great things out there in their communities, and then we'll wrap up the show. We'll do all of that on the other side of these words from our friends at the Salt Creek Golf Retreat and the Louisville Slugger Museum and Factory.